What's going on, everybody? I've been keeping a little bit of a secret from you guys, and it's time to talk about it. At least a little bit. Let's get into it. So at the beginning of the riding season here, 2024, I made a purchase. I bought the ASR seat from Ciro 3D. So this seat was designed by Ciro 3D in collaboration with Adam Sandoval, who you probably know has done a lot of riding over the years and is kind of an authority on this kind of stuff, I suppose. You would think if anybody would have an idea what would be comfortable, it might be him, because he lived on his motorcycle for a very long time. So he worked with Ciro 3D to design kind of what he thought would be the perfect seat. So I decided I needed to try it out. And I've been looking at this thing for a while, but it's not exactly super cheap. Seats are expensive. And those seat videos may not be very exciting. I haven't seen an exciting seat video so far. I think they are important because if you're going to be investing money into a seat, you kind of want to get an idea what people are thinking about it, if it's any good, how's the quality, and things like that. Now, a disclaimer, we had a baby a year ago, so we didn't get to do a lot of riding this year. So no big trips, no big, 500-600 mile days or anything like that. For like longevity over the course of a day or a week of riding on a motorcycle trip, I can't speak to that yet. But I have done some small rides here and there. In this video, I'm just gonna kind of give you my thoughts on the seat. First, we need to open a package. Should have had a table for this. If you guys watched my video a couple of videos ago about the Adam Sandoval luggage, El Sandoval bag, I talked about the lash straps. I ordered a couple sets here. Maybe you only need one. I don't know. I ordered two, just in case. And then this is the rider backrest to kind of finish the whole thing off. As you can see, I've just got the solo seat on here right now, but I do have the passenger pillion I bought at the same time, and now the rider backrest to kind of complete the ensemble. So obviously I won't be able to speak to this because I haven't had a chance to try it yet, and we're into December in Minnesota, so it's not happening in this video unfortunately. But once spring rolls around, I'll be able to use the rider backrest and kind of see how that goes. Once you've successfully installed the bracket or whatever you want to call it, the rest of it's already built into the seat. You just have to slide it in here and it kind of locks into place. There is an adjustment knob here, so you can kind of adjust the angle of your backrest. And then when it's where you want it, you can just tighten it down. So that's what it would look like with just the solo setup and the rider backrest, which obviously looks a little bit funny with the tour pack on the bike. This does have a little pouch on it for your passenger. If you're, if you've got a passenger on while you're using your rider backrest, they can keep their cell phone or chapstick or whatever, I guess, in here. Yeah, whatever girls like to carry. And so that's pretty nice. This is very nicely made, just like the seat, and it obviously matches the seat perfectly. Very nice material that Ciro and Adam Sandoval used in the design of this seat. So if you guys have watched very many reviews of the ASR seat, I will tell you that the reviews that you've seen are honest and true. Tightening these bolts down underneath the seat is not a fun thing. You need a 5/8, I believe, open-ended wrench. They talk about it in Ciro's video and show you exactly how to do it. You have to really pull up on the leather here on the back of the seat to be able to access those bolts. It looks great once it's installed because you can't see them at all, which is very, very nice. It's a little bit tricky. Carry a 5/8 open-ended wrench at all times in case you ever need to get to your battery or anything. That's the only way you're gonna be able to get this seat off. And it just takes a little bit of muscle to get in there. Hold the back end of this seat up with one hand so you can get in there with the wrench to start loosening the two bolts that hold the seat onto the bike. That's really the only complaint that I can come up with. And I don't know a better way because like I said, once it's on and installed and secure, it looks really, really good. And once you do get the passenger pillion in place, the slit in the passenger pillion should line up with the slit in the seat. And you can engage the rider backrest into place. That's what it looks like complete. And I think that looks pretty dang good. But let's talk about comfort. Like I said, no big rides this year, really. I'm trying to think of the longest ride we did this year. And I think that was just me alone. I rode from Albert Lea to St. James, which is like an hour and a half. It was very, very cold that morning. I had to stop kind of partway between here and there to put on some more gear because it was so freaking cold on the ride over there. The ride home was beautiful though. So I would say about 3 hours in a day, and not consecutively because I rode to work, hour and a half to work, and then worked obviously for my shift and then rode back an hour and a half at the end of the day. And I've done that a couple times. No complaints on that length of a ride. And I know that's not a lot to go on. Hopefully come spring, we'll start doing some bigger rides again. And then maybe I can revisit this seat. But I did kind of want to give you guys an update just because I have been riding with it for a season. And because I have been riding with it for a season, I felt like that was a little bit of use, so I could at least share that a little bit with you guys. Other than that, it's just been kind of shorter rides, you know, probably 30, 40, 50 miles, things like that. Short trips here and there for the little bit of riding that I actually did this year. From a rider perspective, I can say that I like this way better than the stock seat that came on the Harley. I've only had a couple different seats on this bike. I tried a seat that my buddy had, and that one, I don't even remember what it was, to be honest with you. I did like it better than my OEM seat that came on the bike, but not a lot more, I guess. There's kind of this fine line between a big, cushiony, comfortable seat that does not look good at all, but will provide you, you know, probably the most comfort for a long ride. That's dependent on a lot of things. Not just saying that any big, cushy seat is going to be great for long distance riding. That is ridiculous. And really, it's dependent on the person, right? Because you could have somebody rave about a seat and they're going to be like, oh, this is the best seat I've ever had. I can ride all day long on it. I get no hot spots. I'm completely comfortable. It's absolutely wonderful, no issues or whatever, right? And then maybe I try that seat and I'm like, this seat does not fit me at all. This is the worst seat I've ever had. So that's the difficult part about reviewing a seat or even watching reviews on a seat, is the way I'm built is completely different probably than how you're built. And things that feel super comfortable or super uncomfortable for me might be the exact opposite for you. So though I do think that seat reviews are important, the bottom line is you really need to be able to try the seats out for yourself, and that's pretty difficult, especially when you're talking $700, $800, $900 for a seat, or sometimes more in many cases. They're not cheap. It's hard to find one that works for you. I will say, so far, I really love this seat. I can't wait to do a bigger ride on it, I guess. Hopefully it's good for a long ride, because once you kind of get out there, you don't have much of a choice, right? It's not like you can bring a backup seat along. From a rider perspective, so far, I think it's great. Passenger-wise, better than the last seat that I used for a passenger. The last seat that I used for a passenger, my passengers all hated it. They wanted to go back to the stock seat, which is great for passengers. I hated the OEM seat, and every single passenger I had seemed to love it. Passengers don't hate this seat, or else they're just trying not to hurt my feelings, but hopefully they're being honest. My girlfriend, Danielle, she doesn't complain a lot about it. She's been all right so far. We'll see when we actually do a longer ride how that goes. I obviously haven't been a passenger, so I can't speak to it personally. But as far as the rider goes, like I said, I really do like it so far. Only time will tell once we do some bigger rides and things like that. Hopefully I can come back, revisit this video again if you're interested. Man, I think That just looks really, really good with the rider backrest on here now. I know for me personally, like I'm not a huge fan of the look of a rider backrest, and sometimes they're in the way and sometimes the passengers don't like them. But for me, I've got a bit of a bad back, I guess. You know, it doesn't really keep me from doing things, but it does get sore on rides. So I wanted to try it with the rider backrest and see if that helps, giving me a little extra back support and stuff on a ride. So sitting on this, that backrest feels really nice. As you can see, I'm sitting pretty straight at the moment. My arms are straight out, kind of lean back a little bit. And this backrest can be adjusted, so maybe I needed a little more forward or whatever. I don't know. Only time will tell on that. I did have to remove the stretch tank side covers that I had on the Harley. They're designed for an OEM seat, so they kind of flare out down here between your legs, and that created a gap between the seat and the stretch tank covers. So I just felt that it looked better to remove them. But the other thing is, because it does flare out and it does make your tank wider, kind of puts your legs out, and it's not super comfortable. I love the way it looks though. That's the only drawback. It just looks so cool. Going back to just the stock tank look for now. Sometimes there's a line between comfort and coolness, and you have to decide where you want to be on that. Especially with this seat, since the seat is designed to be more narrow towards the front, so you have more control over your bike. You can keep your legs closer to the bike, especially, you know, when your feet are down at stops and things like that. And having that tank cover on kind of defeated that purpose because your legs had to be spread out for the tank cover. All right, well, let me know what you think. I know this video wasn't super thrilling, but hopefully give you a little bit of insight into the ASR seat from Ciro. I'm curious to see what you think, if you've tried the seat, if you've ridden with it for any length of time. I do have another seat that I may try, although I've invested quite a bit of money into this setup, so for now I'm just going to ride with this. I think this will probably be my seat for 2025. I'm assuming that we'll get more riding in this year without a brand new newborn. Just very hard when you have a brand new baby, and Danielle wasn't able to come with me, you know, because taking care of the baby and things like that. So we just didn't get any big rides in this year. Hopefully it helps a little bit if you're trying to decide whether or not the ASR seat is for you. Have a good one. Stay safe out there as always, and I will catch you in the next video.